Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. I would like to talk today about the trial master file migration. I have split my presentation into three pieces. First, I will talk about the motivation and why we are talking about the migration of the trial master file. Then I will show the solution what we have developed in Johnson Labs on the migration. And then I will mention the case study what we did for Novartis. It was production. So for trial master file needs to always exist in a company which is conducting clinical trials. However, there is no exact standardization of the content. And there were some attempts on to standardize the content, like for example, Drug Information Association publish, or it's publishing and regularly reviewing via TMF reference model. However, even it is via TMF reference model can be adjusted for the particular fit for the need of different companies. So when acquiring a new company or acquiring drug or setting up new IT system, it may happen that you need to migrate a trial master file from one IT system to the other. And since there is no one-to-one mapping of the standards, and you need to extract additional information like metadata, it is a complex project. It is very, very complex migration project when you need to migrate tens or hundreds of thousands of documents, and it is difficult to do it manually. I will show you first few examples of the documents. Here is the protocol signature page. We need to extract certain metadata as a protocol version, last name of the principal investigator, and also protocol date. And here you can see that the protocol date, there are two different dates in the document, and only one should be extracted. This is curriculum vitae of the principal investigator. We need to extract first name, last name, and the date is actually handwritten. So it's another challenge to understand handwritten dates. Here is the certification. For the certification, again, there are two different dates. First name, last name. And in some cases, what needs to be extracted, it depends on already on the content of the document. So overall, there is no one-to-one mapping between two types of trial master files. It is labor-intensive, challenging process. It is challenging for the organization of the people who are migrating the documents. The documents are scanned, so they need to be OCR'd. They are often handwritten. It is unstructured text. Therefore, it's not easy to use or not possible to use robotic process automation. And the process is governed by bespoken, not straightforward rules, which are usually not recorded anywhere. So as an answer to these questions, we have developed a trial documentation migration system in Johnson Labs. So let me show you the feature. It is based on NLP, on artificial intelligence method. So basically, even if the rules are not specified or not explicit, we are able to extract information. We are able to classify documents. We have the OCR capabilities. There's handwritten detection and recognition. There is language detection. We can work with multiple languages, and also we can work in batch mode or instant mode. In general, there is significant time savings and labor savings. So we can do much faster with much smaller group of people who would be doing the migration. There are, let me now explain the high-level features, and then I will come back to those features in later part of the talk. So there are specific rules. The rules are specified by subject matter expert. Maybe you need to augment the names or roles from some third-party database, because you have, for example, database of people who are involved in a clinical trial, and maybe you need to use some existing metadata, some additional metadata. Then another important thing is you need to be sure that whenever you are migrating, it's always correct. Right? So if you extract information, it's always correct. So we have false positives detector, which is machine learning model, which is able to classify if the information what is extracted is correct or maybe potentially incorrect. Then it goes to the exception queue. It runs on premise without need of internet. It's based on the Apache Spark technology, so it's scalable to the large computer clusters. It is based on Spark NLP, Spark NLP for healthcare. We have a number of references in the pharma and healthcare sector, so it's proven technology. And because the clinical trial may have negative impact to the patient health, it needs to be GAM5 validated. There is a number of steps. Some of them they are performed more by humans, and some of them they are performed by rather by software. I will walk you through all the steps. So in the beginning, you need to define each artifact, so each class of documents. You need to define how exactly information is extracted, what are the post-processing rules, and also you need to define in terms of process, in terms of quality assurance, how you will be checking quality, etc. Then code the custom training models, develop post-processing components, develop the false positive classifier, and verify the accuracy. So first step is verification of the accuracy, check the performance metrics, and maybe adjust the pipelines in the software, and then you run the production pipelines. So basically you run the OCR, extraction, document classifier, and do all the post-processing steps. And finally, review output quality, handle exceptions, the documents are migrated. We deliver the migration project is usually around 6 months, depends on the complexity. The beginning of the project is more heavy on the setup of the annotation rules or annotation guidelines, and the later part it's more heavy on the true document migration and the control of quality. It is delivered as end-to-end project. There is multidisciplinary team on our side. It can be around 2 data scientists, 1 lead data annotator, and few annotators. We need part-time trial master file consultant and computer validation specialist and part-time project manager. We also need customer resources. So we need subject matter experts on the document management, on the trial master file, on IT, security, quality, and the validation. And since the migration project always run on customer side, we will need the virtual machines to perform the IT work. It is delivered with a mix of project-specific components, solution generic components, and the license software. So project-specific components, they're developed always for each project separately because of the differences between the trial master files. So annotation guidelines need to be developed based on the project, custom train, classification, entity extraction models, post-processing pipelines, validation documentation. These are examples what needs to be delivered for specific project. Solution generic, it is classification and entity extraction pipelines, the models specifically for the trial master file migration. And there is underlying component, which is Spark NLP for healthcare, Spark OCR, and the annotation lab. Spark NLP for healthcare, it's state-of-the-art software for the natural language processing. What do we mean by state-of-the-art? We publish regularly academic papers, that peer-reviewed papers, and we hold top positions in the global leaderboard. It's like on web pages like Paperless Code. It is most widely used NLP library in the industry. It is built for the industry, so it's robust, it's fast. We partner with Intel, we code it in Scala, so it's like industry strength. For Spark OCR, it is OCR library. It is very easy to integrate with Spark NLP for healthcare. It allows building custom pipelines for the integration to Spark NLP for healthcare and for specific type of documents which need to be processed. It also allows handwritten detection, and partially it can extract handwritten text. And it can do also classification on the visual image of the document. And Annotation Lab, it is free software. We made it free last year for everybody. It is it's an enterprise level annotating tool. It is highly optimized for annotating large amounts of data, large amounts of documents. So annotator has one hand on keyboard, second hand on the mouse, and with all the keyboard shortcuts, he's able to annotate large amount of text. It has all the enterprise functionality like two-factor authentication, workflows, detailed statistics, log, and etc. Now I would like to mention some details on specific components, which are very important and which I think deserve more details. So first of all, annotation guidelines. The beginning of the project, we need to write annotation guidelines to describe how certain document look like, to be able to classify it, how exactly extract certain metadata and certain information from the document. And also what are specific post-processing rules, like what to do if there are two dates present or if there are multiple names present and like that. So it coming to the post-processing rules, this is critical step because it makes a difference between the solution works or it does not work, because it improves accuracy by 30-40%. It's if there is a natural person doing the migration, he would be discussing those rules maybe informally with his colleagues. So what to do if they are like mismatch between the extracted name and the name which are already present in existing metadata, or what to do if there are multiple names, or if in CV curriculum vitae you have the name on the top of the page, while be in the signature page you have the name on the bottom of the page. And how to use maybe third-party database, like the database of people involved in a clinical trial, or people like roles involved in a clinical trial, and what to do in case of there is a mismatch. So this all needs to be written down. Needs to be written down in annotation guidelines, and then coded for the post-processing rules. Then another very important component is detector of false positive results. So if certain information is extracted from the document, you need to be sure that it is correct. So in other words, you don't want to enter incorrect information or suspicious information to the target document management system. We have built a machine learning method on top of certain signals, and the signals, it's like, for example, if the document, if the data extracted from the document matches with the data with existing metadata in the source system, or if the extracted information is handwritten, what is the confidence level, or where the information is present on the page. Is it on top or on the bottom or on the first page or on the, which page? And based on that, we trained a machine learning method which is able to recognize wrongly extracted entities. Now, I would like to talk about the case study we did for Novartis, and we did a migration project for Novartis. This case study was presented in 2021 NLP Summit by Nirjar Sakar, who is a technical design expert in Novartis, and Veysel Kotsaman, who is principal data scientist and the head of development of Spark NLP for healthcare in Johnson Labs. First, let me show you the architecture of the solution. There are two pipelines. One is the development pipeline or training pipeline. One is the production pipeline. In the training pipeline, you enter the training data. This data is extracted through OCR, then annotated in Annotation Lab, and then with some post-processing, enriching data, we prepare a machine learning model, NLP model. Then this model is deployed to the production pipeline. In the production pipeline, basically all the documents are taken, OCR'd, then we run all the models like classification model, NER extraction model, handwritten recognition model, apply the post-processing rules, and then it goes to the quality control and exception handling and feedback. So if in the feedback process we recognize that it's the migration is not progressing as we wanted, we can adjust the models, and we can also adjust the post-processing rules. And after a few iterations, we are able to migrate basically all the data to the target document management system. It was a year-long project. We selected 48 artifacts from a trial master file, like site staff qualification, supporting information, and so forth. And we extracted 29 attributes, which each like different attributes are extracted for the different artifacts. Novartis provided computers, which were 3 servers, and for the production and 3 development, each with 64 GB RAM, running on Red Hat Linux. Everything was running on premise without access to the internet. In this particular case, we had 2 data scientists, 1 lead data, 1.5 data annotators, and part-time project manager. And from Novartis side, there was a group of subject matter experts, annotators, IT support, validation support. I would like to show you some examples of the post-processing rules. So what in particular was used in Novartis. So we found the names and compare it with the names already existing in metadata. They were specific rules which were suggested by SMEs, like or dictated or specified by SMEs. So which date we should select if there are multiple dates, or there are multiple dates in multiple pages, or there are multiple dates and there are some other dates already existing in other metadata, existing metadata. Then what we should do if the names and role it's not matching to the names and role which is already existing in a metadata, and what we should do if the type of document is not matching with the type of document which is in pre-existing metadata. And there were certain regions where to look for the data to the documents. So for curriculum vitae, the name was on the top, while for the signature on the bottom. And here are some selected results for the artifact accuracy, and you can see that we were very high, and in terms of attributes extracted. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.